What's up, snake fans? Dave Palumbo here from Muscle Serpents Daily, and I got my super hypo, I believe to be a super hypo, Russo Red Pastel Sterling male that I produced in 2017. He bred for me this past season twice, 2 females, and we produced a tremendously cool line of Russo Red Pastel Hypo Sterling visuals and hets, 100% hets that is. I want to show you those babies. They've been eating and growing and they've been looking awesome. This boy is so good. I'm so happy with him. He was my holdback from that 2017 litter that I produced. Those babies went pretty fast too. And this year's are gonna go even faster. You know why? Because I got better visuals, more visuals, and every baby that's a het is 100% het, whereas the first litter, because I bred het to het, were actually 66ers. And they still sold really well because they were so beautiful. And this guy is beautiful. You can see, look at that tail. He has got so much red in there. And that's that Russo Red Pastel line. Vin Russo bred the reddest snakes to the reddest snakes for over 25 years. Took that snake and bred it to a Sterling, which is a patternless boa, and produced hets. I got a pair of those hets, and that's my whole lineage comes from that. So I'm just gorgeous, gorgeous coloration in this boy. And he also bred to a, actually no, he only bred once this year, I'm sorry. His sister, which has the same genetics, was bred as well this year to a Paradigm blood, and we got some triple hets from that, so that was cool. But anyway, let's go into the snake room. Let's take a look at some of these babies and see how cool they are, and I want to show you the great contrast, great coloration, the cool eyes, and I'm telling you, after you watch this video, you're all going to want to get involved in the Sterling project. So we're going to be taking a look at some of these super cool Sterling combinations I produced. This is a hypo, possible super hypo. I tend to go with the super hypo. Russo Red Pastel line. You can see the really, really red in his tail and throughout his body, but the tail really shows that Russo Red off. And that's that line bred trait I told you that Vin Russo has been breeding for the last 25 years, picking the reddest boas. And this is 100% het Sterling. So this is not a visual Sterling, obviously the visual Sterling being a solid pattern, or patternless I should say, snake. But this is a really cool het representative, and once again, because of the fact that we do see the Russo Red there. Look at that influence along that tail, that striped tail. We see the really reduced, clean pattern, and that could be due to the hypo, super hypo gene. I'm not sure if we have 2 copies or 1 copy. It looks very clean, so it looks like it could be a super hypo, but it's possible super hypo, we'll call it. And then, of course, 100% het Sterling. That really cool eye. All the Sterlings and het Sterlings have the cool eye. So this is a really, really nice baby here. And, you know, this is like a snake that you know, I'm breeding for Sterlings, obviously, but this is the kind of snake you want to kind of keep because it's so nice. This is a male. He's really tame, too. The Sterlings are really good, too. I find, at least mine are. He's really nice. For a non-visual, great. Here's another really nice Russo Red Pastel line. Hypo, possible super hypo. Het Sterling. You can see this one has got, this doesn't have a full stripe, it has a partial stripe, and with some really cool looking dash and dots on its dorsal pattern. Once again, for a het Sterling, these are gorgeous. And you can see that tail tells you Russo Red Pastel. Not all of them that. Remember, this is a line bred trait, so not all of these snakes will have that really, really red coloration to them. This snake, when if it produces babies in the future, will produce really red babies, you know, because of that Russo Red Pastel influence in it. Once again, really nice looking, eating very well. The Sterlings tend to be great eaters and great breeders, I find, in my experience. And this is, once again, a male, just like the other one we showed you, and he is available. All right, here's a really nice visual Sterling that from the same litter. Great looking snake. A lot of contrast. Darks and darks in here. Look at that eye though. Oof, look at that eye. I love those eyes in the Sterlings. Ooh, they got great red eyes. And this snake, I don't know if I would call this a Russo Red, although it's got a lot of red in its tail here. Let's take a look. The tail's very red. I would let him shed a little bit more. There's a lot of red coloration in here. This is probably hypo, but not super hypo. It's not quite as clean as the super hypos would be. Really, look at that black tongue. Really nice black tongue. I love these patternless Sterlings. They're so nice. This one's got a lot of red undertones in it. I don't really have them in great light right now, so you can't really see it, but I would probably say that this has got Russo Red. This is a male. So, and he'll be available. Here's another gorgeous female Sterling. Once again, got that Russo Red. Look at the side pattern. You can see all that nice red infusion in there. Russo Red Pastel, Hypo, Sterling. That amazing red eye. If we can, should let us focus on her eye. Let's see if we get that eye in there. Ah, there it is. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that black tail. Oh my God, you can see what I'm talking about. They were all, it's like fingerprints. They all look completely different. Completely. There's not one Sterling that looks exactly like another one. And I love them all. I want to hold them all back, to be honest with you, because they're all so different. It's like the Scoria boa. The Scoria there's not one Scoria that looks the same as another one. And same thing with these Sterlings. And that Russo Red influence is really what I think changes them up so much, because what happens is each snake has a different amount of red infusion because it's a line-bred trait. It's not a straight recessive or, incomplete dominant gene. It's polygenic, multiple factors contributing. So you don't know what you're going to get. So some snakes have more red, some have less, some have more on top, some have more on the side. Look at this dark head pattern. I love this head pattern on this one. That's really what's getting me on this one. Except you see she keeps following me every time I move. So she's not, she sees me as like a possible threat when she's moving with me, almost like a cobra would. That nice black tongue. So these are great snakes, I told you. That's why I really wanted to show you this update. All right, I want to show you one more het because this guy is really nice. This is a male too. This is a Russo Red for sure. This snake may have the most red of any of the snakes I bred, visual or hets. I mean, look at that tail. I mean, that is amazing. Look at these dorsal little, whatever you want to call them, revised or improvised saddles. This snake almost looks Sterling visual, but it's not, obviously. And it's obviously hypo or super hypo. I would almost tend to say super hypo, but the head is kind of dark. And then it's, of course, 100% head Sterling. And look at that eye. Oof. It has the Sterling eye for sure. And this boy is gorgeous. And you know what? For the price I'm charging of the heads, he's a steal, this guy. This is a snake you want to keep just because of how beautiful he is, all those reds in there. Wow. This is one of my nicest ones. And you know what? These Sterlings get better as they age. The reds come out more. And I don't know if that's because of the line-bred Russo Red Pastel trait in there or what, but I think the adults, I'll show you the parents, they're gorgeous. They're still, the mother is a het, she's super red. All right, here's one of my holdbacks. This is my female holdback. She is a visual Sterling. She is a hypo, possible super hypo. I'm pretty sure she's super hypo. She is for absolute sure Russo Red Pastel. Look at that eye. Look at that body. Got her outside here in nature. All right, we gotta get her a little. We gotta show these things off in their Amazonian environment here, right? She's climbing a tree. Got some really nice looking coloration to her. Once again, the Sterling is just no pattern whatsoever. You can say sometimes people will call that a stripe on the side, but it's really not a stripe. It's kind of just the flow of the pattern. And you can just see how gorgeously red she is. So you would think that there was blood in this blood gene was in this, and I can't wait to get the blood gene into this Russo Red Pastels Hypo line. And just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But this is probably the A+ representative of the whole litter. Once again, that's why she's my holdback. I hate showing my holdback because then everyone wants the holdback. But this snake will cost, you know, a lot of money if someone wanted this particular snake. But the other ones are great because you know what? Sometimes the best adults don't throw the best, or actually the best babies don't throw the best future babies. Sometimes the ones that are just kind of good will throw better babies. I learned from Tom Burke. Tom Burke told me years ago, he goes, I always sell whatever people want of mine, and I keep the leftovers. And usually, you know what? The leftovers produce the best stuff, he said. Sometimes you also, you know, the best babies won't produce the best babies. They'll actually, it's the next generation you'll see the true fruits of the labor of, you know, the one you kept back. So I don't know, it's really a lottery ticket scratch off is what I call it. Look at this tail. Look at that. Let me see if I can capture that white striping on that tail. There it is. Look at that bottom of that tail there. Wow. Really, really nice. In its natural habitat. Here is a gorgeous male. Russo Red Pastel. You can see all that red in there. Hypo. Probably not super hypo, probably hypo. Sterling. Male. That is just phenomenal. He's what I would call an A+. Let's get him back here. Let's put him in the grass here. He is, look at that tail. I love the tails on these guys. That's where they get the most red. And it's interesting. I love watching them go through the natural habitat. The grass. You know, how often do these boas actually get out and actually get to, you know, see what it's like to be in the wild here? And these babies are great. They've been eating terrifically. They've eaten, I think, 4 weeks in a row now. So they're pretty at a cool stage. Once again, this sterling line that I've worked with is, these snakes eat well, they breed well, and they're big. They're big. If you want a big snake, you want a big boa, I talk about the dwarf boas and everything like that. The sterlings are my biggest boas that I have, believe it or not. They really, really put some nice size on, but they're gentle giants, and that's what's so great about them. I love them because they're timid. They're very relaxed. And you can see the nuances of all these sterlings are completely different from snake to snake. I have a bunch of these I can show you, and every one of them has different degrees of red and pattern. I mean, in contrast. Obviously, they have no pattern, the visual, but tremendous. You know, if you can't afford a visual, once again, I have some amazing hets too. They're 100% het sterling this time around because the daddy was a visual, and you can't go wrong. These are just gorgeous snakes. If you're looking for a pet, or if you're looking to get into this project, these are the ones to go with, I'm telling you. That Russo Red Pastel line, infused with the Hypo gene and then the sterling, you can't beat it. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Quick hit here. We wanted to take a look at some cool sterling boas. I know you guys have been asking me for more boa videos. Well, a lot of these boa litters we had this year are starting to get bigger. They're eating well. I want to start showing you some of the cool babies and how they're developing and the coloration that's coming out, because the boas get cooler as they get older. Especially over that first year, they really change a lot. And once again, this boy is, he's a very proud daddy. I'm very proud of him. And you can see he's not a big snake. You don't want your males to be too big. You want it to be nice and lean. I don't feed it. Now that he's adult size, he only gets fed every couple weeks, maybe every 3 weeks, because you don't want to overfeed these guys. They like to breed when they're hungry and prowling. You know, when they're fat and lazy, they don't want to do anything. And look, I've made that mistake. I'm sure you guys have made that mistake, but this is a healthy snake here, and he's a good boy. And once again, these sterlings have really good temperaments. They like to be held, but the females can get really big. His mama, who's the mother of this past litter that we had, is a big snake. Okay, she's my biggest. I have her in a 6-foot vision tub just because I want to give her some room to move around because she's so big. She can make it in a 4-foot, but I have the extra cage, so I put her in there because I really love her. She's one of my first boas that I've gotten, and so I like to give her that extra room up there. But let's face it, if you want a big snake, this is a great project. This patternless red stuff that's going on here that we call sterling. If you want a small snake, if you want something that's going to stay in a ball python top the whole life, you stick with the dwarf boas, and we got plenty of those, and we'll showcase some of those in maybe a little later this week in a video, because I know a lot of guys have been asking for more boa, more boa, more boa. I got plenty of boa stuff to send you. All right, guys, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, hit the like button. We'll see you back tomorrow morning.